I love the challenge of creating a new category, and it worked.
You need to always be ambitious to keep moving forward.
It was tough, but has been an amazing journey.
We had to convince motorsport fans and petrol heads, not easy.
What a race! What a drive!
There's no reward without risk. Nobody really understood the car.
Everything was so new.
I was certainly a cynic initially.
In 6 years, it has truly evolved.
The growth has been tremendous.
Be designated an FIA World Championship after just 6 years.
Introducing new concepts.
And the racing is amazing.
And we go green in New York City. Who's hit him? I don't believe it! What are you doing?
Look at this battle for the lead.
Yes! There's the checkered flag, and there's the win!
God, it feels good.
Formula E became a potential champion. The world is changing very quickly. When you see the evolution of motoring, it was important to define the motorsport category, which will be green and which will encourage people, mainly in cities, to use electric car. And Formula E was the answer.
Formula E, the idea was born at a dinner in Paris, where Antonio Tajani, Jean Todt, and I was there. We discussed about the future of the car industry. Where should it go?
All'epoca io ero commissario europeo all'industria e lavoravo molto per favorire l'auto elettrica. Ero un po' un antesignano all'epoca. Bene, parlavamo, ma che si può fare, che si può fare?
You know, I say many times I'm the founder of Formula E. I'm the founder of the promoter of Formula E, Formula E Holdings, but the real founder of Formula E is Jean Todt.
We clearly identified the need of doing something. And I love the challenge.
Jean Todt had the idea and said, I think we should do an electric car championship. And I said, I would love to be the promoter of that. And I wrote in a napkin the few ideas, and that napkin is now on the wall on top of that table in that restaurant in Paris.
Most of the time, FIA is the regulator and is doing the referee, going at races and saying right, wrong. Formula E is the only project where the FIA is so much involved. It was always Formula E Holding plus FIA making it happen.
I think that it will create, by this new concept, a complete new view of what can be motor racing in the future.
At the beginning, there was only an idea, go electric and go racing into the city. So that was the starting point of the Formula E concept.
Many, many people have been instrumental in the FIA to make Formula E what it is today. Without all the input, Formula E would not exist.
For the first time, we've got a development department set up at the FIA, which recognises that development is a core part of our activity.
We are changing everything, not only the technology, but the infrastructure, the sporting concept. It was totally new for FIA.
Nice, huh?
Admittedly, we were a little skeptical at first to see if they'd be able to pull off building the cars and making the cars reliable.
We didn't have any partners, any city, not even the technology, not the cars, not the teams, absolutely nothing, not the drivers. I remember having these discussions with Lucas Di Grassis about the concept, you know, and then suddenly all turning into reality so rapidly.
This is the glamour of Formula E testing. I was the first driver and helped to develop from scratch. I'm still racing on it. I won the championship in 2017, so it has come a long way, and I'm super happy to have supported it from the beginning while nobody else believed in it.
You know, so much has been said about this new single-seater Formula E championship, but now it's time for action.
The first race in Beijing is probably one of the best memories of my life. Because it was so much work, so much pressure, so much effort to get to that point, and then to see the green lights go and those cars just drive off. That was a fantastic moment.
The lights are coming on, and for the first time, we go green in Beijing.
Everything went so well up to the last two corners.
In my way to the podium, I heard this massive crash.
Into the last corner of the race, Heidfeld goes to the inside line, and they make contact, and they both lead.
When I saw the accident, Nick Heidfeld wasn't coming out of the car just yet. So I really thought that the story was over.
When you see a crash like that and you see the driver walking away with absolutely no problem, this is when you see that the cars are very safe.
It proves that the technology that we have invested on is working.
Lucas Di Grassi is going to take victory here in Beijing.
It was not a show, it was a sport. People really fighting hard. From then onwards, Formula E just took off and became what it is today.
Here we are, 7 years after. And it was a massive success.
I think to achieve a World Championship status for the ABB Formula E Championship, it's a kind of confirmation of the idea behind Formula E, that this was the right thing to do.
This is a fantastic accomplishment for everyone involved in Formula E to be designated an FIA World Championship after just 6 years. Huge testament to the success of the teams. The fact that we're a global championship, it reflects the importance in the automotive industry. We look forward to living up to the elevated expectations going into next season.
With a strong development of the sporting format, of the technical specifications, it had all the ingredients to go to the next very prestigious step to be called FIA World Championship Formula E.
Formula E is very different to all the other championships. The FIA is regulating and legislating. Formula E is happening in cities.
The playground of Formula E, it's inside the city because this is where a manufacturer will sell electric vehicle and this is where the buyer of electric vehicle are.
When you're setting up, we usually go 3-4 weeks before. People start feeling the presence, and what we're trying to do is creating like a party, like Formula E is coming to town.
It's a demanding championship to convince cities around the world to stop the traffic. The life of a city for a few days is not easy. That's the challenge, and I must say we get good support because they do believe in this championship.
I've always believed in electric cars. I think for the future of any city around the world or any country around the world, I think it's a great option for the future.
It's awesome to race in the heart of the cities. I think this is one of the most fun parts of Formula E because we actually bring the show to the people. We've created such a big fan base in a short amount of time, and I think this is a big cause of it.
Everybody knows more or less worldwide what is Formula E. The concept of the cities is very good because it brings also a new generation of people.
It's tracks that we've never seen before. We think Formula E should try and stay in the city centers forever.
Everything is present on a permanent track, but when we go to city centers, we have to set it up. It was quite a challenge. Gave me a lot of nights standing on the track, setting up final position of fences, deciding where to put walls.
Every place we go is a temporary circuit. So we're starting fresh in a lot of ways at every event. The fact that everything's in one day is a real challenge.
If you think about a big city like Paris, and what we do is we are basically building a race circuit in the middle of a big city.
And we're green in Paris.
C'était phénoménal, mais le défi logistique l'était tout autant. Ce qui a été formidable, c'est quand même le professionnalisme des équipes, parce que c'est vite qu'il y avait un besoin quand même de dialogue avec la population. Pour moi, c'est un vrai succès.
When you sit in race control, see the backdrop from the city centers, that's a great thing.
It's hard to pick a favorite. I have to say New York.
Seeing Manhattan there in the background is just incredible. It's like, God, you know how many series wish they were here right now?
We reached very early 4 continents. Having cities like Berlin being confirmed, Hong Kong being confirmed, Rome being confirmed, it was the moment where we felt that the championship was developing.
We want to reach as many people as we can with our message around electric mobility. And to do so, we have to grow the sport. And that means growing the audience. What we saw, for example, last February in Mexico, where we had 45,000 people cheering our drivers on. I mean, that gives you a sense of like the scale of the opportunity.
Remember those races, for example, in Zurich, where we raced between the houses. In Montreal was the same situation.
A race in Moscow around the Kremlin, can you imagine that? I don't tell you how difficult it was.
And we go green in Moscow.
We have not only to look for sustainability, but we have to also to push the emotions. Motorsport is emotions.
On a personal level was our races in Berlin.
And we go green in Germany.
In the context of big challenges in 2020, we were able to complete the season. 6 races in 9 days across those 3 tracks. To be able to complete the season, see the entire ecosystem come together, perhaps not in the way that we would have originally envisaged, given the circumstances, but that cohesion and that common goal coming together was a moment that I was really proud of.
The jump up in the competitiveness of the championship has been enormous. We have 10 of the biggest manufacturers in the world competing in this championship.
It's just fantastic to see our Formula E, and importantly the FIA behind that have been really kind of fundamental in shaping the most competitive grid in motor racing.
For us, I think Formula E was literally a no-brainer, as you might call it, because Mahindra has been in electric mobility for many years. And we wanted to start improving the rate of advancement on our technologies. And that's what we've been able to achieve over the last 6 years.
We're doing electric cars for 17 years. It happened like a dream. Finally, someone was doing a championship.
In Formula E, we are developing the car. We had to go with cars which were single make at the very beginning, and then we slowly developed to something where the manufacturers have had more influence.
We all have the same cars, and the difference is made on the powertrain side with the software and the inverter.
The battery is common for everybody, but how we use that energy is critical. And also how we then build our inverter and how we recuperate energy to come into the battery is areas where our IP, where our DNA, our thumbprint can be.
We're much more open to develop your own powertrain. The cars are faster, the level of the fuel is higher.
Our safety department had to develop specific safety rules and regulations because suddenly you had cars which were running on high voltage, and imagine such a car is crashing.
They're going to be contact! Lotterer is sent off in the Porsche in turn 1!
In Formula E, we have to protect ourselves when we go to rescue the driver. We work a lot with the medical team to improve our personal protective equipment. We do a lot of training in a real condition on the track.
We have a FIA data logger. So with this, we are able to measure the power going out of the battery and also the energy. And with this antenna, we have the live telemetry of all the 24 cars. We are receiving around 800 channels for each car.
At Michelin, we thought it was a good idea to introduce innovation regarding racing tires. So it's the first time that you will see a one-seat racing car with tread pattern tires that will be able to run on the dry conditions, but also on the wet conditions.
Here at Jaguar Racing, we've introduced a brand new powertrain, a brand new car every year. This year in the new Jaguar I-Type 5, we have over 1,000 new components. And the reason we have to do that is the level of competition.
What are you doing?
The challenge for the teams and manufacturers is very high. So winning in Formula E is very special because you're battling against the best teams and manufacturers in the world. So it creates a very high reward when you get it right.
Can he hold the position?
Point was clearly on the Gen 1 car to be able to standardize as much as we could, to reduce costs and manage costs as low as possible. But at the same time, we wanted to demonstrate that it was possible with an electric car to have proper racing. And this challenge was well managed for a few seasons, even if we have to be a little bit creative on the sporting format.
I was certainly a cynic initially. The idea of two cars, driver changing in between. It's only when going to my first race at the end of season 4 in New York that I realized how special the platform was.
The checker flag falls. De Grassi wins an Audi 1-2 in New York.
You can try to limit the regulations technology-wise a lot. The engineers are always going to try to find the loophole or the technical advantage that makes a difference.
For us, I mean, it was a great opportunity to observe what happened in Gen 1. I think Gen 2 was the real game changer, though.
The style of the Gen 2 was so specific. Direct input from our president, something which really reflects the future.
I think we've done one big innovation. We went from 2 cars to 1 car to finish the race. And that is a very clear and very big and very understandable innovation for the general public.
We have more power and double the range. This all happened in only 5 years. You improved performance by over 100%. And that's numbers that you're not used to seeing in anything else in the world.
Let's go, boys! The sporting aspect of Formula E is phenomenal. You look at every single qualifying at races, the top 10 drivers in qualifying are separated by 0.2 of a second, and it's just really exciting.
All of us want to win. The great thing about Formula E, because of the format and the sporting and technical regulations, in season 5 we had 9 different winners. We are not a big OEM, but I know if we do a good job, we still have the chance of success, and that's for me fundamental to what Formula E is.
I think the last few years has been at that level of a World Championship. To have that sticker and that trophy at the end of the season, that means something special. So there's no question that we're all focused very much on trying to be the first official FIA World Champion.
This is the only championship where every driver is here because of his performance.
It's Nelson Piquet Jr. who's the champion. Oh my God. And it's victory for Bird in Santiago. It's 0. De Grassi wins. Sebastian Buemi wins the FIA Formula E Championship.
I was able to join very early on with Renault Idams back in the days, and I'm really happy I did because it ended up being a great championship.
I think the top drivers like Da Costa, Jed, Buemi has been already there from day one.
Lucas de Grassi, we are the champion! Jean-Eric Verne, 2 times Formula E champion! Antonio Felix da Costa, the champion of Formula E!
And this is not a technology demonstration. This is a race with drivers fighting to win.
You think you're better than anyone or what?
Championship is growing massively. I think it's a championship that grows more compared to all of the others. It can be the most important championship in the future of motor racing.
I don't think there's any other category out there right now that the field would be this close.
We had plenty of those very, very good drivers, and then we had new ones.
Mitch Evans wins in Mexico City. Max Günther gets into the lead.
Youngsters able to start from a lower category like Formula 2, like Formula 3, being able to join and perform and win in the championship.
The modern mindset in this championship is something that really excites me. There is so many new elements to motorsport, like energy management, like attack mode.
He's on attack mode.
Attack mode, that's almost like mixing a video game with real sports elements. I think that's one of the real strengths of Formula E. They kept pushing the innovation side.
Grassi on the fan boost, up the inside of Oliver Turvey.
And they've been providing us with excellent entertainment, excellent racing.
You cannot predict when you're going to take the attack mode. It completely changed the races.
Formula E is the future. Yeah, and it's sending out a very, very strong message to the world. And it's cool. And it's great because it's racing, great championship, good battles out there, really entertaining. So it's just a great package.
In a city center, you just can't afford any error. The approach and the way you build up to the limit is very different.
Oh, De Vries is closing the door aggressively.
I believe it's a super exciting championship and exciting and difficult till the end.
You need to always be ambitious. You need to always keep moving forward.
One of the biggest steps forward it will be with the Gen 3 car that will be introduced in Season 9.
Gen 3 will be a huge step compared to Gen 2. I guess it will be a bigger step compared from Gen 1 to Gen 2.
What we're trying to achieve in Gen 3, I think it's going to be so relevant. Lighter cars, more efficient cars, faster charging. All of this is stuff which we want to bring to the road as soon as possible.
With the evolution of the car, the circuit also needs to be adapted. An evolution of the circuit will be done as well. In terms of safety, in terms of all procedures that will lead into the evolution of the championship itself. Also the engagement with the fans in terms of show, connectivity. And this is something that internally in FIA we are already working.
Now we're going to our second big innovation. We're going to do ultra-fast charging. And that is the next big jump forward in electrification. If you can charge your car, you go to an electric station, and you can plug your car in and charge the battery in 5 minutes, that eliminates completely the range anxiety that is really limiting the adoption of electric cars. Where is that going to be tested? In Formula E.
That opens a lot of possibilities for different things, such as pit stops on races, things that can make all the things much more interesting for spectators.
We talk about the racing and the reason. So the reason is about climate change and electric mobility. The racing, of course, is the sport and the product, and how do those two interact?
People like to say that electromobility is the future. No, it's the present. And I have been saying this since day one.
It's important to understand that we work in advance. Today, Formula E is a reference in motorsport. It's a benchmark, I would say.
Sustainability is at the very core of our overall business model going forward. It looks at the future of mobility, the role that mobility plays in the whole sustainability topic as well.
We're trying to figure out, okay, what are we looking to get out of Formula E? There were basically three pillars. One was to grow our brand internationally. The second was the race to road. And the third was, let's build a philosophy around sustainability.
At the end of the day, we all have the responsibility as humans to do our share to make this a better place.
Feels pretty good as a driver to be part of something bigger than just racing, and we know that the technologies that we develop are the technologies that will go in the cars of everybody.
When you see announcements like the UK government saying that in 2030 there will be no more combustion cars being sold, the future is not combustion. That's why Formula E, it's important.
This Formula E championship, I love it because it's fresh. People contribute, they're very positive. It's a family spirit, believing the success of the championship.
In terms of technology, quality of the championship, the viewership, everything, we've exceeded it.
We have an official stamp now of being the World Championship.
It has been accepted unanimously, which is a clear sign of where the future journey can go.
It's the best feeling I had to work together with Formula E, not to compete against each other, but to have fun. Everybody wants to succeed, and we have been like a family.
The goal is to be the pinnacle of motorsport, but on the same time, to keep the spirit that we built since the beginning.
I think Season 7 is going to be extremely difficult, extremely challenging for everybody.
What I'm convinced of is that it will still be extremely competitive, which is really what all that matters for the fans.
I think Formula E's got a very bright future. We've established ourselves now with World Championship status on a very strong foundation.
It is in the right space with the electrification. It's in the right space with the mentality of the people that are involved.
Being a current champion here in Formula E, it's probably as high as I can get in terms of my sporting career. I kind of want to win more championships, win more races. Hopefully we have the right recipe to make that happen.
This will be the first season of the World Championship. What it clearly means for the FIA is that we have to raise the level again.
We need to start already brainstorming. We need to increase the reach of Formula E. We need to keep increasing our fan base. So of course, we need to keep raising the bar, always.
Working hand in hand with Formula E, FIA, the drivers, the teams, the manufacturers, we will go very far. But we must all remain very united, humble, in order to get the success the championship deserves and to keep climbing the mountain.